Hey, SEC Media Days ended last week, and yet the SEC is being talked about a ton this week. Hey, ACC and Big Ten, in the words of Will Smith, keep the SEC out your bleeping mouth. Time to get the squad together.
You're talking ball with the SEC squad, sponsored by Game Time. From Alabama to Tennessee, from Georgia to Oklahoma, from Auburn to Texas, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming SEC weekend. It's the SEC squad, and we have a seat for you. Hurt feelings and thin skin are prohibited. Squad up, you're part of the SEC squad.
And welcome into the SEC squad. Sit back, grab your favorite beverage, and join us as we get you ready for another wild week talking all things SEC. And man, do we have an absolutely loaded panel for you guys tonight. Talk about a full house here on the Squad Show. We'll start with Lance Daw, host of Locked On Kentucky. His a rare appearance, rarely joins us. Stephen Willis, Locked On Ole Miss. Clint Shamblin, host of Locked On Bulldogs. John Miller of Locked On Mizzou. Jimmy Stein, Locked On Bama. John Neighbors, Locked On Razorbacks. Chris Marler, Locked On Gamecocks. Eric Kane, Locked On Vols. And John Williams, Locked On Sooners. I need a breather just running through those names. Of course, I'm Chris Gordy, Locked On SEC. And fellas, it has been a busy week. We say it's talking season. Boy, is it talking season. The folks in the Big Ten they got fighting words for the SEC. I know it's been 2 years since the SEC has won a national championship, but what do you guys make of some of the comments from Commissioner Tony Batiti down to SMU coach Rhett Lashley and Indiana coach Curt Cignetti all taking shots this week?
All right. Yeah.
It's ludicrous.
It's just one of those things that, Curt Cignetti comes out there was like, we have an SEC schedule. Last year you played nobody the entire season except Ohio State and you got beat. And this year you're running away from Virginia and scheduling an FCS program, and that is supposed to be an SEC schedule. Why don't we try scheduling multiple ranked opponents in a row? If you do that and you can survive that gauntlet, then you can talk. Until then, you're just the American Conference on steroids.
Can I go? Because I got 3 pages of this that I wrote last week at Media Days, and I'm ready. I'm fired up. Here's the truth about Indiana. They have now had 4 different Power 4 opponents they have gotten rid of in each of the last 4 years. They replaced those 4 Power 4 opponents, which, by the way, were Louisville and Virginia, by the way. 3 of the 4 opponents they replaced them with were FCS opponents. One that was FBS was Kennesaw State, who's in year 2 of being an FBS school. In the next 5 years, the teams they will play on their non-conference schedule that are currently scheduled, they will have 13 total games. They play 4 total teams that are from the FCS. They play no one from the Power 4. They play no one on the road. And of the 7 total FBS opponents they have scheduled, only 2 of them had a winning record from a year ago. This is the, umpteenth year in a row where we've seen a team in the Big Ten, whether it be Michigan in 2023 or Indiana in 2024, go into the month of November, into multiple weeks in the month of November, without not only playing a team that has that's ranked, but in Indiana's case, a team that even had a winning record at the time of playing them, and that was into week 13 of the season. 2023 Georgia played more ranked opponents in 3 weeks than that Michigan team did all year in 2023 or 2022.
Cook.
Love it. I mean, look, it's a reality. Curt Cignetti said he's adopting an SEC scheduling philosophy, scheduling Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, Indiana State. And guys, this is where it gets absurd because they're going, we play a 9-game conference schedule, so we don't have to play anybody. Yet the SEC has this stupid rule that, and I say it's stupid now, that you got to play a Power 5 team and as a non-conference opponent. And not only do they do that, but the SEC goes out of its way to schedule tough non-conference games. And so I just wonder, is the writing on the wall here? If we're going to end up going to 9 SEC games, we got to do away with these games. Why is LSU playing at Clemson week 1? Schedule Old Dominion and be done with it.
This is more indicative, I think, of a looming. You hear these rumblings every year with something that's going to hit the following years, rule changes or some whispers here. This is just more an indication that the conference realignment is real and it's glorious and it's coming. And when it does come, you're going to still have detractors and still people hate it and the rivalries and the tradition and all of that. But this is where it comes into play because you get a team from the Big Ten, Big 12, ACC, it doesn't matter. They're going to keep on saying this about SEC, just proving again, SEC is the best conference. But this conference realignment is happening. It is coming. That to me is the big takeaway because people can't stop talking about it. And that's going to be the answer to everybody's problem because until then, you can't standardize the schedule all the way out. You can't guarantee strength of schedule across all playoff formats or playoff teams is going to be the same. That's what it tells me.
Indiana is going to play 3 teams this year that had a winning record last year.
Total.
That's Iowa, Oregon, and Penn State. Oregon's in a retooling year, and we were talking about it in the chat. They're going to get both Oregon and Penn State after they play Ohio State.
The absurdity is that the committee is going to let someone in that has that schedule. That's the absurdity. It would be fine if the committee said, you didn't have enough good wins. You didn't play a tough enough schedule. The committee apparently just spends a lot of time counting wins. You could have a committee of kindergartners do that.
Did I miss also? I can't believe this hasn't been brought up, but like, there was never a time when college football was like, hey, listen, guys, everyone's got to play 9 games. And the SEC was like, I don't think so, guys. We're not doing that at all. We're sticking to 8. No one told you to go play 9 games. You went and played a 9th conference game in the last decade because you wanted to make more money for your conference and your teams. And the moment that it became a huge problem, you somehow gaslit the rest of the country into thinking that, oh my gosh, this incredible victim story arc that they've all taken a hold of, and saying, well, why doesn't the SEC do this? Why did you do it in the first place? Play 8 and play 2 FCS teams. None of us care. You get boat race almost every time you play the SEC up until last year.
Well, and going to 9 games still didn't make their schedules any more difficult.
Yeah, that's what I was about. Right. That's what I was about to say. Is what does a 9th game give you consistently? Like a Rutgers and Illinois, it's not. You're not providing extra quality to your strength of record or strength of schedule. It doesn't move the needle.
Well, let me put it this way, because I agree with almost everything you guys say. However, I am a little bit envious of the Big Ten, because this is what they're doing at Big Ten Media Days, and SEC Media Days could not have been more boring this past week. And I'm jealous of it, because that's how Media Days used to be in the SEC, where you were having pod shots get taken at other coaches. I remember Brett Bielema and Gus Malzahn going back and forth, and Steve Spurrier and all of that. And it seems like the Big Ten is going to become the new SEC. And that's so, again, I agree with everything you guys say. And I think a lot of what the Big Ten was talking about this week in Big Ten Media Days is dumb. But at the same time, I think it's awesome, because it's getting us to talk about, it's getting people fired up, it's getting good trash talk for college football. And I just wish we had a little bit of that back in the SEC once again.
But John,
when you make sure SEC Media Days is last next year.
Yeah, well, when your league is boring as hell and you have can anyone name a Maryland player right now? Or, your league sucks. So up top to bottom, you're top heavy. You got to do something to take shots. I'm sorry, I'd rather hear Diego Pavia sit at a podium and talk than hear, I don't know, somebody from Minnesota's roster talk. Again, name a Minnesota player. Anyone. Raise your hand.
But also, I get what you're saying, John. You're not wrong.
Vanderbosch. I guarantee you there's a Vanderbosch.
The dangerous part of that is that, it has somehow become the narrative. It has somehow become the narrative that, no, they're right. The SEC's not playing anybody. And then it somehow detracts from the conference as the season goes on. And I don't understand how there's not someone standing up and being like, no, everything you just said is factually completely incorrect. And then when Sankey does, then it's like, what an idiot, dude. Did you see him with that little folder that he brought to Destin trying to defend his own conference? I'm not going to say the word, but
I can cut it.
I love all these arguments here. I got to say, as a Missouri fan, all this SEC kumbaya, it really warms the cockles of every inch of my body. I just want you all to bring this same energy in week 6 or 7 when you're all complaining about Missouri's schedule. That's all I want to remind all of you. Thank you very much.
Oh my God.
I'm going to go ahead and leave now.
See you later. About himself.
Oh no!
Well, the thing about the SEC, it's kind of like I've always looked at from one of my favorite movies of Animal House. He can't do that to our pledges. Only we can do that to our pledges.
Yeah.
It's that type of camaraderie that outside we get after each other, but if somebody else comes after our entire conference, then we get a little bit defensive of it. And to your point too, Marler, that is a narrative. And again, I agree with y'all. And I agree with everything you've said, but if I'm the Big Ten and you've been playing second fiddle for a very long time, and you see any sort of loophole, any sort of thing that you can talk about and bring up that people will buy into, people will agree with to try to get sort of upper hand, you're going to do it, even if it's not true. That again, I go back, it's almost like a Big Ten thing. And the second time I mentioned this name, and I can't believe I'm doing it, but when Brett Bielema came into Arkansas, I remember he was talking big about Big Ten. We're going to get a bunch of fullbacks in there and 300-pound people, and we're just going to shove you around because that's how we do it. It's like, no, you're not, and you didn't. And then you go back and now you're talking big, well, we got it, Illinois, man. We got great things. We're good because you couldn't handle the SEC. It's like you just sit over there with your own narrative and your own thing because it's all you got. And so you're just trying to take these opportunities to throw shade, even though you may not have facts behind it, but you at least can say something, get people fired up, get people to buy into it, even if it's not true.
Let's hold it there, and we'll get a few more thoughts when we return. Rhett Lashley, I'm sorry, SMU is at the table. We'll discuss that coming up here in just a second. Hey, back to the Squad Show in just a second, but first, summer sports, they're in full swing, and whether you were all about baseball, under the lights, golf, we had a great tournament just a week ago, high-stakes soccer action, whatever it is, FanDuel is the best way for you to make every game even more exciting. And if look, you're already watching the game, you're already following all the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling with FanDuel? You can get in on the game while your friends are off doing whatever, getting sunburned at the beach. We've been using FanDuel for a long time, and look, it's a great website. It's easy to use, fast to pay out, makes even regular season games feel like must-watch events. And let me tell you, a lot of those week one big SEC games, they have already got up there with spreads and lines on those games. So if you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. All you got to do is open the FanDuel app today. Visit FanDuel.com today to get started. That is at FanDuel.com. If you never signed up before, take advantage of that new customer benefit. Bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins at FanDuel.com. SEC squad rolling along here, and if there were ever a more Ole Miss fraternity frat name than Rhett Lashley, I don't know where it is, even though he's an Arkansas guy, and some people even saying he might be the future Arkansas head coach. But the SMU head coach entered the chat and took shots at the SEC this week. First off, a guy whose two best wins last year were Louisville and Pitt may want to pipe down, but what do you guys make of SMU taking shots? First off, look at their schedule. Like, they had no business being in the playoff last year. Please play an SEC schedule, SMU. I beg you.
Wrestling is now fully entered college football because this is that moment where the guy who has no business being in the ring with Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out, grabs the mic, and challenges Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's where we are now. Is you have no business being at the same table, no business fighting for the World Heavyweight Championship, but you're going to come out and run your mouth and then get yourself in a match with the World Heavyweight Champion. That's just the way that this is right now. The Big Ten, Rhett Lashley, they're just talking themselves up so that they can get themselves at the table with the big dogs in the SEC. Everything is wrestling.
It seems appropriate since we've got a old school 10-man Survivor Series match here, but I agree with you. A lot of it's hype, and I don't think it's a coincidence that we've talked about SMU and Indiana so far, a couple teams that really didn't belong in the playoff. They want to make sure that they're at least still in the conversation. Frankly, I don't blame them, even though I understand people's annoyance with it.
I don't blame SMU. Sorry, there was a screaming baby on the other side of the wall over here, so I've been quiet for 15 minutes. SMU, I blame Miami. I blame Clemson. Clemson ended up getting the playoff. I recognize that, but they had to win the ACC championship. Clemson stubbed its toe several times. Miami stubs its toe several times. So you give SMU an opportunity to take advantage of all that. I mean, your conference sucks. I mean, the conference top to bottom is just not good. And then you have a team like SMU that sneaks into the playoffs and feels like they can, have a say in the matter now. So I don't blame SMU. I blame the ACC for being a sucky conference.
I wish that it was Dabo saying it, and I wish that it was Ohio State saying it, because Ohio State sat there for 40 years and had a 2-12 record against the SEC, and still talk trash. But it was like, that their coach was going to go ahead and say something like out of pocket about the SEC because he didn't have anything to back it up with. If Dabo said something, part of me would respect it a little bit more because he's had a lot more success. Thing is, Dabo's not a total moron. He dresses like one and runs on the hill like one, but he's not a total moron because of the fact he's not going to say anything when he went 0-3 against the SEC a year ago. It's the teams that have not had to face these people and also have nothing to lose. They're like, oh yeah, I mean, it is the same energy as that whatever the AD was who's now at Tennessee that walked on the field after the Peach Bowl in 2017 for UCF and was like national champs. And then people were just like, yeah, let's run with that. Like let's do something with that. Let's put it on the side of the stadium. That's the same exact energy that this has.
Well, and it's also too for those. If correct me if I'm wrong, when SMU joined the ACC. They joined the ACC when they were saying, "Hey, you don't have to pay us anything. We'll just want to be a part of the conference." Like it's like, no, we don't need any revenue share. It says we'll just say we're in, and that's what really cracks me up about it, is they've been in it for about 5 seconds. Only way you got in is because it doesn't cost them anything, so you're a discount team, and they're getting in for free. And then the second you have some success, you get into the playoff barely, and then you kind of just stand on the shoulders of other people, saying like, "See, look how awesome we are," and everything. Like, you just got here.
It's like a friend on a spring break trip who's like, "I'll ride in the trunk. I just want to come.
Yeah.
By the way,
my credit card.
The quote was from Rhett Lashley, quote, "The SEC has had the same six schools win the championship since 1964. Not a single one has been different since 64. That's top heavy to me. That's not depth." Well, I mean, the last, 13 of the last 19, the SEC has won. And in that, you've had LSU, not just Bama and Georgia. You've had LSU, you've had Auburn, you've had Florida. I mean, like, okay, how many has the ACC won? Clemson for 2 and Florida State? I mean,
Florida State for a decade and a half.
Well, and also, too, does anybody know why he chose 1964 specifically? Does anybody know why? Because I
won it like 2 years before then.
Because Arkansas won it in 1964. So that would have changed his argument completely.
And Ole Miss was like the year before.
Schools.
Yeah.
Right.
I love how he just, it wasn't like in the past 50 years or in the past, since 1964. It's like you had to be so specific. You thought you had that stat, man. You thought you were rolling up there like, I'm going to get these people. But you just made sure you had to get the year that would make your argument slightly different. That's what cracked me up about it, is just like, since 64, I'm not going to give the Razorbacks any credit.
Just a student of the game, huh? What a
It's
story.
amazing to think about it, because even that, and if you count Texas and Oklahoma, who's in there now, 8 out of the 16 teams have won national titles during that time, and no other conference is anywhere even close in that period.
And I would feel comfortable including those two, because this is coming from an argument of a head coach that just joined a conference and wants to act like, oh, well, we're coming in from the ACC and this other league's top heavy. No, on top of all of this, like, he also does realize, talking about expansion, like 6 of 14, because the league just expanded to 16. 6 of 14 during that time span is almost half, right? Like, he realizes if one more team had won a title, that would have been half. That's not top heavy. That's nowhere close to top heavy. It would take like 2 schools. It would take like 2 schools dominating the league that entire time for it. It's just a stupid argument. Some SID fed him that stat, and he was like, "Oh, I'm really going to get him with this one,"
So
it's just poor.
Meanwhile, they're a conference. The ACC, like we said, has 2 teams that have won. I mean, Miami's been how long with all the resources, and they can't win a damn title? Like, they just had a Heisman Trophy winner. They can't even break through and make the playoff. And then, the Big Ten, it's basically, like, I laughed my ass off when I saw Colin Cowherd said he's got Penn State beating Texas for the national championship. The next time James Franklin wins a big game will be the first time. I mean, he just stays losing to Ohio State and Michigan. And, like, again, it's the past 2 champions of the Big Ten are Michigan, Ohio State. That's it. There's nobody else in the Big Ten that can win a title.
And you always talk about, like, ranked opponents. Because here's how you know they don't have an argument, is because the moment you start bringing up actual facts and numbers and metrics into, like, hey, like, what about strength of schedule? What about ranked teams? It's like you start moving the goalposts immediately. Well, strength of schedule is it's messed up because it's skewed in favor of the SEC. It's like, all right, what about ranked teams? Well, you have to make sure the ranked teams are at the end of the season, not during the season. Like, it's got to be like every single thing. There is a pushback except for with actual facts. And you look at like Michigan and Penn State. Michigan and Penn State from 2021 to 2023. And Penn State from 2022 to 2024. Those teams both played 7 ranked opponents in the regular season all year. 6 of them for Michigan and 5 of them for Penn State were just each other. It was Michigan and Ohio State or Penn State and Ohio State. Like, that's the only. You talk about top heavy. I know it's a different conference that Lashley was talking about, but it's like it doesn't get more top heavy than that.
It boggles my mind because the 2 sides of this argument actually defeat each other on it. On one hand, you want to say we're playing too many tough games, 9, whatever it is, each conference. On the other hand, it's like, okay, go play the teams. If you think you're up to par with the SEC, no one is stopping you from scheduling whatever game you want out of conference. Like, literally, you go talk to an AD, you set up a time, you sign a contract, you get it in ink, and then you say, let's go. If Lashley thinks that he belongs, go pick a school. No one's stopping you. And if you think it's going to hurt you playing stiff competition all year long, then you shouldn't be there at the end of the year with that stiff competition. You beat the people, guess what? Then you get to talk. And without beating them, you should shut up. No one's stopping you. You have freedom of choice. Go talk to your AD and schedule a game.
Yeah, and just Wake Forest paid $1 million after the beatdown they got from Ole Miss last year to not play them again.
Correct.
Stop it. We're playing a different sport.
Correct. And oh, by the way, you look at teams like that are contenders in this conference. Bama plays 2 Power 4 opponents every single year until 2034, right on the schedule. Georgia, starting next year, plays 2 Power 4 opponents in every year until 2034. They play 3 Power 4 opponents in 3 of the 9 of those years. Carolina does the same thing until 2031. And then Florida has 2 Power 4s in 7 of the next 9 as well. Texas, by the way, doesn't, but they also have Notre Dame, Michigan, and Ohio State all on the schedule in each of the next 5 years. Like, what are we talking about?
Quickly, I'll just say that Missouri was scheduled next year to play 2 Power 4 road games next year, but Illinois actually backed out of their game with Missouri next year. They still got 3 more coming on the schedule, but I'm just telling you, it wasn't Missouri who backed out of this one.
Well,
what's interesting, though, is the Big Ten's got an article up on their website talking about the top games on the schedule this year. And week 1, it's Texas, Ohio State. Week 2, it's Michigan, Oklahoma. Week 3, it's Wisconsin, Alabama. So, like, respect to those programs that are willing to schedule those games. The Big Ten wants to benefit from those kind of games. So Curt Cignetti is actually doing his conference a disservice.
Right.
Because they're not going to be able to benefit from having those high-profile matchups.
Wisconsin and Ohio State they should not catch any flack from anyone in the SEC because they do a tremendous job of actually like going out and scheduling those teams. Like Ohio State, obviously you've seen with that. Like Wisconsin's a team that had, I think, I have it in my notes here somewhere, guys. They have at least one extra Power 4 opponent every year till 2033. We talk about Michigan. I'm glad Michigan's finally playing somebody because from the last 4 years, they didn't play a single game in the month of September outside of their home stadium until they went and played 4-8 Nebraska. That's a span of 4 years. They didn't play a single game in the month of September against a team outside of the Big House.
Yeah, I love to bring it up. 2 years ago, Michigan, when they won the title, non-conference was ECU, UNLV, and Bowling Green. Last year when Ohio State won it all, Akron, Western Michigan, and Marshall. Again, why challenge yourself? Why are we playing these tough non-conference games? The dopes in the hotel room in Dallas don't give a damn. They just go, did you win? Okay, I guess we'll give you a pass. See you next week. All right, coming up. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it would fix it if the committee held programs accountable for their scheduling, like they do in the NCAA basketball tournament, by the way, where that committee clearly values who you play non-conference, but the football committee has not.
Quad 1, Quad 2, Quad 3, do quad wins, and it solves a lot.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, when we return, we do have to talk a little on the SEC. We didn't get to kind of powwow all together, so when we return, any big takeaways from SEC Media Days? We'll discuss that next as the Squad show rolls on. All right, the Squad show rolls on here. And, guys, I wanted to throw it out there to you guys. We didn't get to kick it around with you guys last week, but now the SEC Media Days is coming and gone. Is there anything you learned about any other teams, any big takeaways you pull away? I know John Neighbor said it was boring, but anybody pull anything out of SEC Media Days?
Sorry, I mean, just to go off what John was saying earlier, I mean, the most entertaining part of SEC Media Days was Lane and, Lane on Paul Feinbaum. I mean, that was, and then you got Eli Drinkwitz on the last day, and he was finally throwing some haymakers. I mean, that was it. Like, in my opinion, I mean, it was boring. It's certainly not what it used to be. But also, I think Tennessee has the most boring head coach in front of the microphone there ever was.
I thought he was great.
I'm not saying entertainment. I'm just saying, like, did you go, oh, hey, I think LSU might be more loaded than I thought, or hey, it did catch my eye that Mizzou's got an easy schedule. Like anything like that stand out?
Well, to me, it's about I've always look at the tones of coaches when they come in more so than what they say. Like what is their energy level like? What is it compared to the year before and everything? And I've tried to look at things through a different lens, but I just feel like most times when I hear a coach say something, I'm never going to be like, well, in that case, man, I had this team going 6-6, but I think 8-4 might happen because of what they said in media days. It's not about that. To me, the SEC football media days has always been more about the camaraderie of the SEC, the chaos and absurdity of the event, because we're a bunch of nerds that get together and we're just like, oh, let's talk about the two deep and hey, how's your linebacker looking? And then we try to do some viral moments. But what it was, it's mainly a promotion of these coaches and these programs and these ways of being just out there. And to me, at least, And I agree with what Kane just said. It was like Lane Kiffin and Feinbaum was great. As much as I hate to say it, Eli Drinkwitz actually did a good job, and I give him credit for that because at least he made it entertaining. You got to give people something to chew on. And there just really wasn't anything to chew on. There really wasn't anything that stood out, I guess, in comparatively speaking to previous years.
Maybe we don't have 40% of the entire media be from Texas, because what I learned mostly was nobody loves talking about Texas more than Texas, and that like every single question was like, "Oh, hey, John Neighbors, Chris Marley here from the Austin Gazette. Did you see how pretty our uniforms were last year? Did you see how good we were? We're back, baby!" Like it was the weirdest. Like, just tell me I'm pretty, and we're gonna live forever. That was the entire mood I got from Texas.
Well, in fairness, they are the only team that had their own network, right? Like nobody else in the SEC had the Bama network, right?
Yeah, and it failed.
You're right.
Miserably.
Yeah. I had a buddy text me and tell me that I needed to go tackle a dude because he was asking questions of Brent Venables from a Texas Longhorns perspective. I'm like, it was annoying. Weird. Like in the main media area, like the first 4 of 5 questions came from Texas media.
Yeah. It just felt like it felt like the thing with Texas and football is almost like Kentucky with basketball, is that they ask their head coaches any question about, hey, what's your favorite color? Burnt orange. Oh, this guy just gets it, man.
Right.
He just gets it. Like he understands the culture of it. And it's just like, what happened? Like, you're Texas, for crying out loud. You don't need to stroke your own ego. Like, you're Texas. You're going to get benefits of the doubt. So it's hilarious that that's the case. And being in Atlanta, I was hoping we could avoid it as much as we had it last year in Dallas with the Texas media. But apparently they got so much money. They got direct flights into Atlanta where they can just roll out and roll in and be annoying. So that was what they were really good at.
How about I think it's takeaway more about the commissioner talking about, hey, we don't need to go to 9 games and we don't need to expand the playoff. We're not going to give up something just to expand the playoff.
I kind of also, I think he's still going to do that. But I also, now, like, I just kind of pieced together after what Neighbor said and what John said. Now I kind of get why the Sankey Texas, like, favors all kind of make sense. Because if you guys saw Sankey speak, before every person that went up there, he's like, and by the way, I ran 41 marathons. You're like, cool, dude. Bring up Clark Lee and shut up. Like, we're ready to go. It's time for a cookie and a Diet Coke break. I mean, I'm over it.
How about them getting up in the middle of Sark's speech at media days to go stand in line for Arch Manning?
Oh, that was wild.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Well, look, I was a little bit surprised. I thought Arch Mania was going to be like at an all-time high. And I asked one of the guys who works for the SEC office, I said, where did that compare, like Manziel, Tebow? He's like, it wasn't even close. So if Arch has a great year this year and comes back next year, that might be the deal. But I feel like we're doing that with so many of these guys. Like, we're putting the cart before the horse. We're crowning Arch before he's done anything really yet. We're crowning DJ Lagway, one of the best quarterbacks, and he hasn't done it yet. So I just feel like we need to kind of pump the brakes a little bit and let these guys all prove it.
Agreed, Gordy. Agreed.
Marla, are you shocked Lagway wasn't an all-SEC quarterback?
Kane, when I tell you I ran out of that room the moment Florida came in, I was like, I'm out of here. I'm like worried about somebody on the dusty knoll or something like that, the grassy knoll, I guess, and just like anybody that looked like Brandon was gonna come in here and have words to say to me, I was out the door.
Well, and let me go back to that point you made, Gordy, about crowning people. It's like, but it goes back to trying to find some sort of excitement because you want to be able to promote something. You got to have something that gets people energized, and so you force the issue, even if it's not there naturally. Like, we all knew that Manziel back in the day, there was something that was already there. The Arch thing was like, well, none of these other quarterbacks were really interesting, and they're all ugly. So let's just go and get this guy over here. You know, this Manning is his last name. He's the thing. Let's make him something. So it's like they try to force it into the way of the television side of things, when the rest of us in the media were like, if there's something there already, it's going to be there. It's going to be established, and it's going to be something that everybody wants to hear about. And I just think that they, just like everything, they just try to make something out of nothing, and it ends up just kind of being a big nothing burger more often than not.
I will give them credit that Arch Manning, I said it last week, he did a great job looking like a Sigma Chi president and standing in front of the dune trying to not go on probation. That was the look he was going for, and he absolutely nailed it.
He's a good looking dude. I just I didn't have him third team all SEC preseason. I had John Mateer just because he's done it. He did it all. Last year as a starter at Washington State. Like, I wouldn't have put him that high yet. But were you guys shocked that Texas got as many first place votes from the media as they did?
No,
I think it was
they've been waiting for this moment. The media has been waiting for this. They've been waiting to crown Texas.
This is one of those things. Going back,
never overachieved. Never.
No, going back to all the preseason SEC stuff, Texas fits an absolute archetype of teams that didn't have anything before. Everybody's super hyped on them, and they don't deliver on it. Texas has a mountain in front of them to deliver, a huge giant gauntlet. A lot of guys leaving, a lot of guys unproven coming back. Not even Manning. Everybody else on that roster as well. You want to talk about people saying the best player on their team's a linebacker? Oh my gosh, go watch the film. The guy got toasted and roasted by high-level running backs and offensive line. Texas had a lot to prove, and this just another one of these SEC darlings that everybody comes in and says, oh, this is the team to beat. This is the preseason favorites. We've seen this before, and they roll over, and guys don't perform. Why aren't we learning? It's neighbors, you're right. Talking points. Just people love talking and clickbait. Crap,
and they
all day
love
long.
to talk about Texas.
Yeah.
And they love that Texas has made it to the playoff in back-to-back years.
I guess people are bored with Georgia. I'm still picking them to win the league.
Here's well, that's what I did too. By the way, full disclosure, I voted Georgia to win the SEC. They got the second most votes, but I feel like this is what happens, guys. Like, we should be saying Texas could take a step back because of everything they lost and all this. But what happens is if they go lose at Ohio State week 1, what's going to be the narrative? SEC overrated, right? Like, where it should be, no, they lost to a good team on the road with a lot of new pieces. Like, that should be the narrative. But the pride of the conference, I guess, is on the line in these stupid week 1 games because everybody wants to run to the headline, SEC was overrated.
Well, and what's the worst thing that could have happened to all of this is Texas winning it last year. That is the first year they're in the conference. That is the worst thing that could have happened because all of you idiots here, my team never had a chance. Y'all's team should have stepped up and done something about it, and you didn't. And so
they also didn't win it, John. They also didn't win it.
I'm right here, neighbors.
You should have stepped up. You ruined it for everybody. It's y'all's
beat them a
fault.
couple times.
Georgia saved everybody.
I think that what John's saying though is like the perfect example too, because I don't think people remember that Texas didn't win the SEC last year.
They went 0-2 versus Georgia,
especially since Carson Beck got hurt too.
When they back up, we were like in the shadows of where they got beat for a second time.
A one-armed quarterback, guys. A one-armed quarterback came in. He couldn't have thrown the ball, and they ran it straight through there. That's what I mean. Like, it's just lunacy to me. They're not a football team. They're a very talent acquisition-rich team with a guy who can draw up stuff on a grease board, but they are not a team.
I love
they
a grease
can't
board.
Week 1 has a chance to be very, very annoying because Auburn and Baylor, that is a scary game if you play the conference game because Baylor, that stadium is going to be a cauldron for Auburn.
Couldn't you see Baylor beats Auburn, Clemson beats LSU, and Ohio State beats Texas? And I mean, the headline Monday morning, SEC sucks.
And none of us will be upset about any of those losses happening. Nobody here will be like, oh no, Auburn lost to Baylor? Like, who cares?
Let's talk about the Georgia State game.
Yeah.
Well, as we wrap up, guys, I do want to give a shout out. John Neighbors did get a sit down with Eli Drinkwitz, and that was very entertaining. If you get a chance, check that out. Locked on Razorbacks. And Clint, your coach, the SEC champion, reigning coach, the only head coach to sit down with me on Locked on SEC. So shout out to Kirby Smart.
Yep, our people loved it, by the way, Gordon. They loved their time with him.
Yeah, and I love the fact that I was able to get somebody else's coach, but not my own. Isn't it great?
I love it.
Oh, I should throw in, shout out to Eric Kane for joining us. Eric, I've gotten multiple comments the last few weeks on our video saying, where is Eric Kane?
I know, it's hilarious. I go check the comments. It's like, why even put this video on your channel, man? You're not on there. I'm like,
Yep.
We also want to thank Lance Daw for joining us. I mean, he contributed a ton to tonight's show. So Lance,
What a blast from the past from Lance.
Yeah. Hey, I've been feeling the pressure from the comments as well, so I am here. I am present.
For Lance, Stephen, Clint, John, Eric, John, Chris, John, Jimmy, John, and the other 3 Johns, thank you guys for making us your first listen every day. Thanks to all you guys for being here. And, hey, we'll be back next week with an all-new Locked On SEC Squad show. And, hey, remember, I'll have you covered with the whole conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day.